Welcome everybody to the next video, Assessment versus Research. What's the difference? This is a distinction that it's very important to keep in mind because it governs the expectations of both the participants and your potential stakeholders. And the most important thing is it impacts their perception of the relative utility of any data or findings that you uncover. And for the purposes of this course, research will be referring to social science research and not research in the natural sciences. And assessment will follow Upcraft and Shu's definition of evaluative investigation. So for us, research or social science research has a focus on theory and ideas. Their findings are essentially ordered to lead to confirmation, changes, revisions, or rejections of a theory, and is primarily interested in testing hypotheses, determining correlations and causations, and ultimately prove or disprove any ideas. Context tends to be apolitical and organizationally independent. Social science research is free, mostly, of evolving organizational structure, situations, and political needs. And funding sources are also usually separate from the institution. And the design is based on an ideal or a perfect design, where you have sufficient funding, sufficient time, you can shut down research projects that uncovered some flaws in the design and start over again. These are luxuries that tend not to be present in assessment. Assessment is, on the other hand, very much focused on practice or praxis. It is a form of action research, and it's designed to inform or implement, to be implemented. It emphasizes the observation and documentation of changes and how we can react to it. The context of assessment is often embedded in an organization, and it's subject to the organization's political constraints and limitations such as time, resources, skills, and available funding. And the design is unfortunately imperfect. Often we end up having to make compromises in the middle of the implementation due to unexpected events. For example, fewer participants show up to the focus groups, a lower response rate to a survey, and things of that nature. The pressure is to salvage the project, the assessment project, and not shut it down like in research, because we have already invested what limited time and resources and effort we have into it, so we have to have something to show for it. And ultimately, to me, this is the most important aspect of doing assessment, and that is, and I'm going to go ahead and quote from Upcraft and Shu's article, decisions on policies and practices will be made regardless of available assessment data. Choice is then between the best data we can get under the circumstances or decisions made based solely on personal bias, gut instinct, or preconceived notions. This really is sort of a summary of a great deal that's provided in both Oakleaf's review and report and in Upcraft and Shu. So if you're at all interested in finding out more detail or following up more on what I've said, both of these references are listed also in the supplemental readings of this course.